The rain fell in relentless sheets that evening, blurring the neon lights of a lonely gas station on the edge of town. The air smelled of oil, gasoline, and a cold so sharp it seemed to pierce straight through old bones. Marguerite, an elderly woman with a frail frame, clutched a thin coat around her trembling shoulders as she stepped off the bus. Her shoes were soaked, her hands stiff with cold. She had just finished a long day sorting donated clothes at the local church, earning barely enough for a loaf of bread. In her pocket, a crumpled $10 bill, the last of her money until her next pension check, 5 days away. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the small miracles still possible in this world, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps remind the world that humanity still exists. As Marguerite shuffled past the flickering convenience store light, movement near the gas pumps caught her eye. A man, bloodied and bruised, struggled to stand beside a motorcycle. The insignia on his leather jacket read, Iron Shadows, a name that carried a reputation for trouble. Many townsfolk would have crossed the street in fear, but Marguerite only saw someone in pain. His breathing was labored, knuckles scraped, eyes dazed. A few of his companions lingered nearby, tense and frustrated, muttering about not having money for gas or food. Marguerite hesitated. Life had taught her caution, but her heart had never learned fear when it came to helping those in need. Slowly she approached, placing a trembling hand on his icy arm. She didn't ask what had happened. She didn't ask who he was. She simply pressed the last $10 she had into his rough palm, then went inside to buy bottled water, a sandwich, and some bandages. Returning to the gas pumps, she found him slumped against his bike, still trying to hide his pain. She knelt beside him, ignoring the curious stares of passers-by. She helped him drink, cleaned the blood from his cheek, and whispered softly, "You'll be all right." Sometimes even the strongest need a little help. Colton, he would later tell her his name, looked up at her with glistening eyes. He had faced countless fights, lost friends, and survived injuries, yet never had he encountered someone so small in stature, yet so enormous in courage. When she finished, Marguerite smiled, wished him safety, and disappeared into the rainy night, carrying nothing but the quiet faith that kindness would find its way back. That night, she returned to her cold, empty apartment. She lit a single candle and sat by the window, watching rain slide down the glass. She whispered a small prayer, not for herself, but for the biker who looked so lost. It had always been her way, giving quietly, believing deeply, never expecting anything in return. The next morning, the sun broke through the clouds, and the sound of distant engines rumbled through the air. At first, she thought it was thunder, but then she pulled aside her curtain and froze. A long line of motorcycles, at least 50 strong, was parked outside her apartment complex. The ground vibrated with the idling engines, a crowd of curious neighbors gathering to see the spectacle. Clutching her sweater, Marguerite stepped outside. A tall rider in a leather vest approached her, holding a bouquet of daisies. Behind him stood Colton, now cleaned up, bruises fading, eyes warm with gratitude. They explained that they were part of a veterans charity group, stranded after their gas cards were stolen. Her small act of kindness, her last $10, had saved them that night. By the morning, the story had spread. Bikers and strangers alike contributed, and an envelope containing over $20,000 was handed to Marguerite. Enough to fix her roof, fill her cupboards, and ensure she'd never go hungry again. But they didn't stop there. The bikers rebuilt the small community garden outside her building, a place Marguerite had once tended. Soil, plants, flowers, and tools were brought, and together with neighbors and children, they worked through the afternoon. Laughter mixed with the hum of engines, turning the courtyard into a symphony of hope. Before they left, Colton handed her a custom leather vest with a small patch on the back, Guardian of the Road. "You're now an honorary member of our group," he said. "Wherever we go, we carry your story, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can change countless lives." Tears filled her eyes as she pressed the vest to her chest. Words failed her, so she whispered simply, "Thank you." The roar of motorcycles faded into the horizon like a moving storm of gratitude. As the sun dipped below the trees, Marguerite looked at the blooming flowers, the envelope on her table, and the laughter echoing through the neighborhood. She realized the true miracle wasn't in what she received, but in what she gave. Before the story ends, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done if you were in Marguerite's place? Comment below, your words matter. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together we can remind the world that kindness always finds its way home.